Hello there and welcome to my YouTube channel, Julia McNeil Crafts. So today I'm trying a bit of an experiment. Everybody's journey into craft is different. I started with fabrics and I have done cross stitches since I was a teenager. As such, I have a box of cross stitches like these ones that I've just, this one I remember sitting doing at my grandma's house. I think I must have been about 15 at the time. You can tell because it's all really yellowed, and it's like at one point nearly anybody that got married or had a child would get a cross stitch from me, and I'm not talking like a little cross stitch, I'm talking a great big thing. I've got one framed, I've got a couple of framed around the house, but to be honest I've got this box full of things that I now don't do all that much with, and I kind of suddenly thought to myself, well, it's not something that is ever going to be seen because it's stuck in a box, and I don't really want all of these on all my walls. But it seemed a shame, so could I do something with them? Could I use them for a mixed media project? Now, in the past, I have made some fabric flowers. I'll maybe just pull them out to show you. Okay, so these were some of the flowers. These I stamped out. They're polka doodle stamp, and this one I've done a bit of embroidery on. And those ones are just, sorry if I'm out of breath, it's because I've ran downstairs to quickly press this and I've just ran back up the ladder. And these are like little flower things. And then what you do is you paint on the back using a mixture of PVA glue and water, approximately half and half. So that's what I was thinking I would attempt. Now that first one I showed you, that lady with the red dress, I love her and I think she would make an awesome journal cover or something like that. But because I don't know if this is going to work or not, I am going to try it with this one first because I'll not be as upset if this one gets wrecked. Now I'm not saying that this is the best way of adding texture and interest to your journals and your mixed media projects, because obviously it's very time consuming doing a cross stitch, but it's because they're sat in a box and I just suddenly thought about it. I just thought that seems such a shame. So I have mixed, as I said, it's half quantities PVA to water, and then what that does is it makes it, the fabric, just a little bit stiffer, and then when you cut into it, it shouldn't fray. So just mix that there, and then what I will do, I actually think I've just made that slightly too watery, so I am going to add a bit more PVA into that. Okay. So this is a really fun technique. Quite often if I've got fabrics or something like that, you can use this technique and then make embellishments that will work within your paper projects as well. So I'm just going to put this on the reverse. Now the reason I've kind of chosen this one is I feel that I could kind of cut round the individual girls and use them in various projects, or I might put them together. So I just want to give a really, really generous coat. Now I'm going to go over everything that's stitched because then that gives me the ability to be able to cut it out later, as I said, without it fraying, and that we can use in some mixed media. So I doubt I'm going to be using the clouds and the raindrops, but let's just cover it anyway. So this is a bit messy. It's going to be seeping through that Ada to go on to the back. So I will just, because this is probably very repetitive, I don't think there's much more to say about this. So I'm going to finish doing this, and then I will most likely have to leave it overnight to dry. I wouldn't dry this with the heat gun, just the reactions with the glue and all of that sort of stuff. As I said, I'm really, really hoping that this works, because if it does, I will be going to town making a massive journal cover with that red girl. And it just, yeah, this was my crafting for so many years before I discovered paper crafting, and then paper crafting sort of took over. But it just seems a shame not to use these and showcase these in some way as well, rather than just sitting in a box aging. So anyway, I'll finish that off and I'll come back when it's dry. So if a video goes up, it's worked. And if not, you will never see this. Okay, back again soon. Okay, so I believe that has worked. It's dried and we have a bit of firmness here. So the test will be as I start to cut this. Now, if there's a really sort of strange dodgy edit, and there'll be a change in sleeves as well, it's like, I'm funny about that. I like there to be continuity, and I always make sure I'm wearing the same the same top when I've had to do a video in a few different parts. But to be honest, this video, I did this months ago now, and it's been sat waiting to be done, and as yet has not happened. So I am managing to cut this absolutely fine. So the test will be as I sort of cut through more stitched elements as to whether using the PVA and the, what do you call it, the PVA and water mixture, whether that has worked. So I am just going to roughly cut this out. Let's save some of that. Okay, so at the minute that seems to have worked okay. So we've got some stitching here, and that's me picking at it there. I probably could fray it if I really wanted to, but I'm having to pull at it, so I would say that that has worked successfully. So what I'm going to do is I'm maybe just going to pop you on fast forward. I'm going to cut that out. So I have cut out all my fabric elements, and now, sorry, I really should move my water. I keep stretching across the screen. I've done that in the last few videos, so I'm sorry about that. And I am working in my not Delusions, Dina Wakley Journal with all the different substrates, which I bought with great excitement and then have barely used this journal, which is shocking. But I thought using cross stitch in an art journal page, that's definitely got to go in this journal. It's definitely got to go in something that's just that bit different, because I think using a cross stitch in it is fairly unique. I'm not saying it hasn't been done, I'm sure it has. You always find most ideas have been done somewhere. But yeah, I think it's a bit different. Now, I was hoping that if I wet the page that we would have had a bit more burst from that, but I'm thinking because it's rain that I want some sort of blue. So that is my magicals. I kind of wanted it a little bit more. Actually, that would make a great fireworks page, wouldn't it? I'll do that another time. Okay, now I've got some of my luscious powder, and this is Lawn. Oops. Okay. So I'm going to spray that again, and let's see if we can get a bit of movement on this. I think it's just the type of page it is. I maybe should have gessoed it first, but we'll see how we go. Yeah, we're not getting a huge amount of movement. That's fine. What I'll do is I'll let that dry, and then I think I'll go on with actual watercolours as well, and we will build up the layers, I think. Okay, I can get it to move a little bit with a brush, so I'm just going to try that, because we're getting some little sort of streaks, which could be quite nice, seeing as I'm obviously going for a bit of a rain effect. I think this is the thing with these journals, this is meant to be the watercolour card, so it doesn't move overly well, I have to say, but I think that's what these journals are about, aren't they? They're about experimenting with different mediums. Got some of my Ecoline pens, so let's get some of these out. Okay, so I'm just going to colour this on a sheet here and add some water to them, so I'm almost like creating a little mini paint palette. I think this brush needs replaced. I think it was one of these ones that I didn't clean it properly. You know, like you should. I didn't clean it properly, and yeah, now it's a little bit dodgy. It's making for some interesting stroke effects though, so you know, all good. If you would like a brush like this, leave gesso caked on it for about a week and then decide to wash it. Yeah, this paper is you're definitely not able to move the watercolour overly well, which I'm pretty sure this is the watercolour paper in the book because you've got canvas, watercolour paper, craft, and burlap. So considering this is the watercolour paper, we're not getting a huge amount of movement on it, but you know, we'll manage. Right, I think I'm just going to have to, mind you, if I do that it's not going to move at all, is it? No. Okay, let's see what else we can do. I'm going to dry it off. Well, you're definitely experimenting with me today, because I have no idea. I thought the challenge today would be like attempting to use cross-stitch in a project, but apparently it seems to be just colouring the back of the page. That bit I thought I had down pat, but no. So I'm now just going to try splodge it, because I'm not getting much movement with this paper at all. I'm going to just try splodging down with some Distress inks. I'm going to try an acrylic block. I'm not overly thrilled. It's just not moving. It's like, I don't know, considering this is watercolour card, it's like it just gets drawn right into the paper. There's no movement at all, which is bizarre. I'm sorry, but that's just not how I expect watercolour to behave. So I'm feeling a little bit frustrated, you know. It's like I like my watercolours. I thought I had watercolour techniques down pat, but clearly not. Right, there will probably be an edit there, because I just realised I was getting this and it will have been really crunkly in the camera, and I won't want that for you, so I will probably edit that out. So if there just seems a bit of a... Right, let's see if I can get more specific look with that. Right, let's give that a little dry, and then I'll go back on with some more of the blue. Okay, I'm just going to try again with the peacock feathers and see if we can get a bit more. It's just because, I don't know, because it's just absorbing straight into there. It's like the inking that I've tried to do is just looking a bit square because it's where the ink pad was, which is why I'm sort of trying to do it like this. And then I think I'm just going to have to work with what I've got. I'm clearly going to have to learn how to use this surface. It's not behaving like I expected to. I'm not saying that it's rubbish. It's just when I thought watercolour paper, I thought that there would be more movement in it, that you would be able to move your paints a bit more, but clearly not. But it just means I'm just going to have to get used to using this material and finding out how it behaves. And that's the whole point of an art journal, isn't it? We're not trying to make works of art. We're not trying to get our work, you know, put in a gallery of any sort. We're literally just playing and experimenting. So, you know, I've learned something to do. So therefore, the purpose of art journaling has been fulfilled, because I've played, I've had fun, and I've learned something. So it's still all good. Now that is really soaking up the water, so I may have to leave that to dry, but I'm thinking, yeah, see, now we've got that on, she looks quite cool. She looks quite good. And now I've got my, not sure if I'll use my, maybe use some flowers just to frame the page a little bit. Actually, I don't think I'm going to put some in that corner. I like her just like that. Let's keep it simple. And then I've got some leaves. As I say, I think I'm going to have to wait for this paper to dry off a bit, but I'm just having a little play to see how it would look. Now in my bit box I have got some, yeah, like that. I think I'm going to keep that really simple. Okay, in my bit box I have got some yellow paper, and I'm just thinking I might make some funky flowers. Not flowers, clouds. So let's just draw on, actually I'll just pop that to the side. I think considering how much I was struggling with the background, I'm actually going to love the way the card turned out. Clouds are so easy to draw, you really don't have to worry about them at all. See, and it doesn't even matter, because I've got on the reverse, it doesn't matter that it's not gone right. So this was paper that I was using. I think it was in one of the Dawn and Julia Create videos. I think it's the one where we made the fancy fold cards. So I'm just going to grab this now and cut these out and just lay it down. I have a feeling that I'm going to have to leave my page to dry overnight because it really has absorbed the water quite well, so it's going to need to dry. And then because obviously I'm putting fabric on it, I'm going to have to use like a fabric medium and stuff like that, and I just think it's not worth trying to rush it and doing it while it's wet. And I'm not in any time frame for this. I'm not doing it, you know, because I've committed to a challenge date or a YouTube hop or something. This is just me playing in my journal, so it's probably best to, you know, do it as it works for me. So I'm just going to cut these out, and then I think I'm going to grab the distress ink that I was playing with earlier and just ink the edges of this to give them a bit of something. And it's great because I've used up a bit of my scrap paper that was in a bit box as well. And I think the way it is, and with a sentiment, and to be honest, I'd quite like to maybe use thread in some way. Just, I suppose I could put it behind the flowers, just sort of to really emphasise the take on the fact that we're using cross stitch, and it's a bit different. It's something a bit different to have in your journal. So sometimes it's just like running with the theme might be quite good. Oops, I'm going to use a different palette sheet because this one probably suits the colourways that I'm using a bit more. Right, so I'm just going to grab, I've got this squeezed lemonade distress oxide. I'm going to get some of that on here and just, why not have yellow clouds? I love doing stuff that's quirky. As you might know from any of my artwork, if it's a bit weird and a bit different, I am loving it. I always have loved unusual images, you know, as a crafter. I always have loved, you know, I've always bought something that's slightly different, you know. So the fact that I'm now able to create those sort of wackadoodle images suits me down to the ground. Right, the cut work's still a bit dodgy, but let's have a look how it will sit on the page. So I think, oh yep, I love it. I love that. That is so cool. Right, I am going to take all of that stuff off, allow that page to dry, and I'll be back with you tomorrow to finish that off. Okay, so I've allowed this to dry overnight. I have got some fabric Slap It On by Indigo Blue. I don't know if I actually need to use a fabric glue, but I have it, so let's be kind of more safe than sorry. So I'm just popping a blob of that down, and I will spread that over. But it seems it's designed for fabric, and this is fabric, why not? I'd imagine I might need to put a bit extra on, but hopefully that'll just get us sorted. Put some down on the base as well. Okay. Oops, and then just stick her down. Okay, so that's it. I think I'm going to need to be a bit more heavy-handed with it. It's just because it's not just that it's just fabric, it is quite thick as well, although we do have that glue base on it. And I also probably just need to let it dry a little bit. Let's try putting some more down here, making it right. mess of this, but we're having fun and that's what it's all about. Okay, that should stick her down a bit better. Okay, and then we'll put some on the base there, and then I'll just maybe, as I would with decoupage glue, get a little bit extra. Where's my, oops, just get my mat and put a bit of glue out here, because taking it from the bottle is proving a little bit difficult. Squirt a bit out, that's quite a lot, but never mind. Okay, I'm thinking now if I just sort of, almost like I would with decoupage paper, just sort of run it round the edges, just to make sure that that is really secure. And to be honest, we've put glue all over this anyway, because the very first thing we did was sort of put down water and PVA to make it stiff in the first place, for us to cut into it without the stitches fraying. So I'm sure it's going to take a bit more glue without any harm, because we've already sort of been there and done that and it's taken it, so we've got nothing really to worry about. So yeah, I'm just, as I said, I'm just making sure I've got plenty so it's completely secure. But I do love the way that's turned out, and I love the texture. Love, love, love. Right, I'm going to get my flowers down as well. So I think we just sort of had flowers built up. Actually, put this back down here. It's easier doing it this way. Okay. Yeah, so this is a bit different. It's been a bit of an experiment, and I did struggle with, as you saw, with the back of that, with the paper. So I'm going to have to do a lot more playing in this journal to get used to this paper. But actually, overall, I'm liking how it's turned out. Now, what I may do, obviously I'll have to wait for this glue to dry, but what I may do is maybe almost put some stitching through it. We'll see how securely. We'll give this a chance to dry, and if I feel it's slightly insecure, I think what I might do is almost add a few more stitching features and stitch it through, and then that way we've got another hold. But yeah, I'm happy. It's very different. It's not my normal sort of journal page, but that's nice. It's nice to be different. Nice to do something different for a change. Oh, it's a busy crafty day for me today. Got loads on. Loads and loads on. So I've been busy colouring for a project. So I've just done that, and then I needed to do something on my Procreate, and then realised that my Apple Pencil needed charged, so I've just had to leave that on charge, and I'll have to get back to that later on, so I thought, oh well, I'll come up here and finish this. Oops, okay. Just realised that leaf is the wrong way round. Yeah, I can tell that's sticking, so we're good to go. I think we're going to be absolutely fine. I don't think it's going to need any further securing, but I suppose that's an option, if we wish, that we could do that. Okay. Oops. Yep. We are sticking while I'm at it. I don't think it needs it, but seeing as I've got it there, I'm just going to put a massive glob down to make sure that it's really, really stuck. Maybe do the same under there. There we go. I definitely think we're going to be okay. I'm just seeing as I have the extra out, I'm just going to go for it. Okay, right, and then I had my little clouds, so I'm going to put I'll tuck one just under the, now this is a medium, so I know it's designed for fabric, but it's going to stick anything, so I'm just going to stick with that because it's already on my brush and I've already got it out, so if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I don't have quite enough on, and we'll slide that under there. Okay. I am liking it. I love the yellow clouds. It's a wee bit different. And then it sort of ties in the yellow of her outfit as well, which is fun. Okay, 'cause I don't know, I've got it the end, just going to put a massive glob down. How did I have it last night? I really liked how I had it last night. I'm going to have it like that. It's, I know I had it further down the page, but it looks wrong. So we'll do, I'll maybe still have it sort of sticking over the page a little bit. Okay. Cool. Right, so I'm going to grab a pen. So I am just going to give this a little bit of a doodly border, because let's face it, it wouldn't be me if I didn't, and I do think doing stuff like that frames it, and we haven't really got the contrast of a dark edge. I don't think this particular project will suit that, so I need to ensure that I'm doing at least my doodly border. So I'm going to just do that. Okay. And I'm holding my pen quite high up, so it's impossible for me to get a neat straight line, but I don't want one because it won't really work. And then I will probably get some sort of black Tim Holtz sentiment and put that in, and then that'll tie the border in as well. Now the other thing I thought I'd do is I'm going to doodle some raindrops as well. Do love doing this, it just frames things beautifully. Okay, so I was thinking that I want to do some sort of doodled raindrop. And then let's just draw some more in. I'm going to try and sort of bunch them in groups of 3, because aesthetically that's going to look better. It's going to look random, but not so random that the eye can't cope. Okay, and then maybe one over here just to balance it all out a little bit. Okay, and then I've got on my desk from the sea picture that I was doing, that was with the Samantha K. I still have my drawing inks that I've just sort of rediscovered, and they're ages old and used up, so I am just going to use them to colour in the little raindrops. They're so pretty and glitzy. Love, love, love. I really, really love this page. It's so different from anything I've ever really done before, and I love it. And I've definitely, now that I know that it works with the cross stitch, I definitely, I have an idea of what I want to do with my favourite cross stitch that was in there. I didn't put the glue on that one first because it is my favourite, and I didn't want to do it just in case it I've kind of gone outside the lines a bit there, but it doesn't matter. It's also become a bit more of a circle than a teardrop. There we go. Doesn't matter, we can fix it. Yeah, I didn't want to do it and then it not work, but now I know that it will work. I have got a, well, I think it's a brilliant idea, but I know what I want to do with it. So that will be another project for another day. Now I'm just getting carried away and thinking that I could do with a few more down here. Now I'm looking at it thinking, do I need splatters? And actually I'm not going to, for once in my life. Can you believe it? No splatters, but I'm thinking with the raindrops that we've got enough there. So I'm going to take this sort of spare paper away because we can see the page a lot better now. Right, I'm just going to grab some stickers and then that'll be us. Okay, so I've got my Tim Holtz Sarky ones, and I've got one here. I'm going to have to chop it though. It says forecast for today, unproductive with a chance of a nap. Which I think is brilliant and so goes with our, you know, in the rain theme there. So I am just going to pop that down. Slightly uneven. Okay, let's just burnish that down, and I've managed to thingy my raindrops, never mind. Okay, So that is me. So I've discovered you can indeed use cross stitch in your mixed media projects. So I hope you've enjoyed experimenting with me today. It's been lovely to have you with me. If you have enjoyed it here, please do consider liking and subscribing, and I will be back with you again very soon. Okay, take care then, and goodbye.